Welcome back to another edition of Baseball This Week with the radio voice of the Minnesota Twins, Cory Provus. I am Derek Hanson, again brought to you by Dean's Bulk Service. And Cory, a tough one last night in that 9-1 win. It's kind of sums up, am I wrong on this? It just seems like things can go okay, and then that one inning seems to get away from the Twins in some of these losses.
You just can't waste Jose Berrios' performances like that.
Yeah.
And, a guy that strikes out 9 and 6+ innings, that's a great showing. It's a really strong showing, and you just have to win those games right now with the way that the starters have been going. And Maeda's been better lately, certainly since coming off the injury list, Derek. But it's almost like the Twins have to win the Jose starts, and then just try and hope for the best the other 4 days until his turn comes around again. And so just to waste that last night is disappointing. It's go time right now. They're buried right now. They're 12 games under, but they have 17 in a row before the All-Star break, all within the division. That if they can somehow go on a 14-3 run here, these next 17 or even 15-2 would be incredible. If they could do something like that to make this competitive, entering the All-Star break, and then the trade deadline discussions maybe take on a different tone.
Yeah, because you really can't waste the opportunities, like you said, with Berrios, and you need to get in the mode here of really rolling here against Cleveland here at home. Then you're at the White Sox, Kansas City, and then again with the White Sox. I mean, if you're not competitive against the White Sox, you're really done before the All-Star break.
No, the White Sox have a chance to truly bury the Twins here before the All-Star break. It's that true. The White Sox can absolutely send the Twins into a seller mode if they're not there already, but with the 6 games they have before the All-Star break. So that's why this is it. I mean, the Twins have put themselves in a terrible spot, and if they want to salvage their season, they have to do it now before the All-Star break.
I just hate to bring this up again, but it's just one of these things. If Byron Buxton didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. This is just that broken hand on Monday night. My stomach was just churning after that. It just made me sick.
I was talking to one of the team doctors last night. Just came by the booth, and he said, and I didn't see this. Just I didn't pick up the visual. But when Buxton made the catch, the next half inning, he was in right center, was out number 3. It was a really good running catch. And if you were watching it on TV, you could see him wincing a little bit, and that's what one of our team doctors saw. And when he saw that visual, he said, "Oh, it's broken." That was exactly what one of the team doctors thought, just looking at that visual, Byron's reaction the next inning when he caught that ball. So it doesn't sound like he'll need surgery, but still he's going to be out at least a month, if not more. So grip strength is just going to be, it's just going to have to wait. And until that happens, Byron's going to be a bystander. And again, they're going to be without their best player.
It's just such a shame, too, because when he's in there, he's such a difference maker. And I think, there's been a lot of injuries on, both pitching and hitting and, fielding and all that. But he's just been the MVP when he's in there, and they're just a different team without him.
Oh, since 2018, if you look at the numbers, they're like over 40 games over 500 when he plays. I mean, it's that significant, and they're not anywhere near that without him. So he is the most important player on the team. We've said that for years. Not just can't stay on the field, and there's nothing. It's not a chronic. It's not like Donaldson here. He doesn't have a chronic, calf injury. It's just a random thing that pops up. I mean, he gets this random hip injury that's not too common to baseball players. That kept him out, for nearly 40 games. And then he just gets hit by a pitch in his 3rd game back, and that's an injury that is quite common. Batters that get hits, so it's not uncommon, this latest injury that he has, but the last one certainly was.
Yeah, that's for sure. When you look at it too, what's your take on Donaldson as far as, it seems like he's coming back after this leg thing, but man, he's got to be aggravated too, just his calves, his thighs or whatever. It's just an ongoing thing with him.
He's got big calves, and I'm a little envious of that. I don't. But I guess if you have big calves, you're more prone to having this kind of injury. And it's a chronic injury. This is not some acute, traumatic, one-time thing. This is an ongoing ordeal for him. So, but he looked good last night. I mean, his range was tested last night. He was on base a few times. He was one of the few bright spots offensively, and then defensively, I thought he made a couple of good plays. So his range, I thought, was good. Certainly that was concerning leading up to the game, but he passed all the tests before the game, a full workout on the field, and was able to play and play well last night.
Tonight's starter, what do we know about Danny? Is it Colomade, or how do you say that?
Danny Coulomb.
Coulomb, okay.
He's the guy that we saw, I think, for maybe 2 innings last year, and we saw him in spring training. And I don't know if this is going to be a bullpen game, if he's going to be an opener and do 2 innings, and then Griffin Jacks, who took Randy Dobnak's spot, is going to come in and then maybe be the bulk guy. So I don't know exactly how the Twins are going to piece this one together, but Dobnak's out, another injury to a Twin starter, and these keep piling up in a hurry.
Yeah, and that just, I mean, that goes and that hurts your bullpen. It's just it's really a trickle down thing, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It can be. I mean, this could set you back for, and again, no off days here until the All-Star break. So, I mean, I still think we're going to see a revolving, door here with the roster and then the pitchers coming in and out. They just don't have a lot of length right now. And then Pineda maybe is coming back next week, but he's going to have to go out and rehab first. So until that date is locked in, it's hard to really pencil in when Michael's going to be back.
How is the mindset right now, and just kind of it's harder to know. I'm sure you're not around the team as much as in a normal situation pre-2020, but I mean, is it pretty upbeat? I mean, I'm sure they're frustrated after some of these losses, but when they're winning, they're having fun. It still looks like they're winning and having fun. It's just got to be a weird mindset. I guess you just can't look at the standings if you're a player.
I think that they're all devastated. I think they're shocked. This was a team that was going to contend. This was a team that was going to, make noise and go for their 3rd straight division title, and then they just buried themselves quickly here. And they played themselves out of this thing when he got to the beginning of May, and they could not win a close game. That to me was pivotal, Derek, the first month of the season, how poorly they played in extra inning games and double headers, but just in 1-run games. Those 2-run games, they were just not very good in that area to start the season, and with that, they lost, and they just dug themselves too big of a hole. And again, last night, Taylor Rogers, giving up the hit to Eddie Rosario, and then the 11-run scores on the Bobby Bradley ground ball out. The Twins bullpen is allowing about 60% of inherited runners to score. League average is just above 30. So just think about that. I mean, they're about double what the league average is in inherited runners to score. So the bullpen has been a problem from day one. It was performing better. Now, to be fair, the bullpen was performing better the last, I'd say, 2 weeks.
Yep.
But, last night just wasn't their night yet again. Just could not miss enough bats, and Cleveland rallied for the win.
You mentioned Eddie Rosario. As a Twins fan, I always had a love-hate relationship because he could be as exciting as any player, and then some of the base running errors and some of the other bad at-bats, the goofiness of him, sometimes he is really kind of one of those up-and-down players, but he was always entertaining to watch, that's for sure.
And he did it last night.
Yeah.
Base running gap he made during the 6th inning, and that's like, okay, we've seen that before, but then we've also seen the at-bat that he had in the 8th inning before. I mean, the good and the bad. Eddie in one game, that is not uncommon. And one of my favorites, and I was disappointed last night in the fans. There was a video tribute before the game, which was nice. He got a nice hand, but I thought his first at-bat, I thought there would have been that moment that Eddie would just tip his cap one more time, and Jose would kind of pace around the mound. And I think Jose was willing to do that, but the fans just kind of sat in their hands.
Yeah.
So I was surprised and disappointed too, and I said that as much last night, that Twins fans did not give him, that moment for a guy that brought a ton of joy and a ton of clutch hits. Recognize him at the plate where he did some of his best work as a Twin. I thought that was a missed opportunity last night.
Yeah, because it's not like he left as a free agent because he wanted more money or anything. It's just the Twins said, "Hey, we're moving on," right? I mean, it's essentially.
Yeah, I think we all saw this coming. I think the fact that Eddie was non-tender was not at all a shock, and it was a financial decision, but also looking at their depth in the minor leagues, they had left-handed corner outfielders ready to play, and with Lardick and Kirilloff, and we've seen those guys. Well, it was their turn. And I think I think we all saw that decision coming. It was not a surprise. Granted, how depleted the Twins outfield has been this season, having Eddie out there would have been a bonus. But even if Eddie Rosario was back with the Twins, Derek, I don't think the Twins are all of a sudden a playoff team. I think that, that's not their issue right now. Their issue has been more on the pitching side. And, yes, it would have been, I'm sure the Twins maybe have another win or two, but they're not going to have 10 more wins because Eddie Rosario is in that uniform again.
Totally agree. Final thing for you, your take on the first week of pitchers going through TSA screenings after every inning. It's kind of weird to watch. I hope it settles down a little bit, but we had the Max Scherzer blow up with Joe Girardi, but hopefully this settles down a little bit. It's just an odd thing to see each and every inning.
Yeah, there's the Scherzer moment, and I think even the Sergio Romo, I thought that was funny when Sergio just kind of took off his pants and everything. But yeah. Those seem to be the outliers. To me, the visual has been more laughter that I've seen from pitchers than it hasn't been demonstrative or anger. I think it's a nuisance. I think if a guy comes off the mound, he has a clean inning, he has no problem doing that. But, for Hansel Robles, you give up 3 runs in the 9th inning on Tuesday, the last thing you want to do is see an umpire and go over your glove and your hat and your belt and all that stuff. But that's just what's going to happen. So I think it was a needed step by baseball, just for how historically bad offense is this year, going back to, the late 1960s. And so I think it was needed. I just think this should have been done in the off season. And I think this should have been done with more collaboration with the union. I think baseball reacted a bit late on this and made decisions unilaterally when they should have involved the union and involved the players a bit more than they did.
Very good. Thanks so much for your time again, Cory. I'll be enjoying you again from the pontoon like I was last night. Always enjoy listening to you guys, you and Danny. And I love Danny calling that pickoff play last night, too. He just has an eye.
He saw that come, didn't he? Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, take care. Thanks so much for being with us.
All right, Derek, thanks.
Cory Provus, the radio voice of the Minnesota Twins, with us here on Baseball This Week, brought to you by Dean's Bulk Service on the mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO.